Let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
Yes, this is Dennis from Cleveland, a long-time Cleveland Browns fan. I'd just like to comment on what Tony Grossi said about Shadir Sanders, about him not being a good quarterback. He's the same guy who called Baker Mayfield a midget, and Baker Mayfield is taller than him. And now Baker Mayfield's a two-time Pro Bowler for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I don't think that Tony Grossi should be commenting on no quarterbacks. Thank you for listening.
As always, appreciate all of the voicemails. Let's welcome in Bill Sparks for draftprofessor.com. Now, Tony Grossi didn't say Shadur Sanders was not a good quarterback. He said he felt like Dillon Gabriel performed better in rookie minicamp. I don't want to get into the whole Baker Mayfield thing, but here's the thing, Bill. If you liked Shadur Sanders more in the draft, you think he did better in rookie minicamp. If you liked Dillon Gabriel better in the draft process, you thought he did better in rookie minicamp, because they're really not doing a whole lot that you can judge what they do or don't do well at the NFL level yet.
Right, you're spot on with that. It's all about how you preferred them coming out of the draft, and I preferred Shadur Sanders over Dillon Gabriel. But I think right now, when you stack up these quarterbacks, it's Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett are at the top, and then you have Dillon Gabriel and Shadur Sanders kind of neck and neck. And I think as we move through the summer, we're going to start to see more how this coaching staff feels about these two quarterbacks. I think they love them both, honestly. I think they both provide different things. Dillon Gabriel, a little bit more of the mobile quarterback that, can get out in space and kind of make plays with his legs, versus Shadur Sanders, that pocket passer, classic style. Arm talent wise, they're both about the same level. They both have a little bit of deficiency in that area, but they can make all the NFL throws, and they're both very accurate with their ball placement as well. So I think right now you really can't say one did better than the other, but they both have looked very good, which is a good sign for this Browns team.
So I know, I'm gathering you think Joe Flacco would be who they would kind of line up as number one to take the reps. Here's the question I have, and I've asked this of people that think that. And the reason I think Kenny Pickett is the guy they're going to line up number one, they had the ability to sign Joe Flacco or other quarterbacks. They gave draft capital and DTR. They traded to acquire Kenny Pickett when Joe Flacco was still there. And I would say similarly, they decided to draft Dillon Gabriel when Shadur Sanders was still there. I think that puts Pickett a little ahead of Flacco and Gabriel a little ahead of Sanders. So tell me how do you deal with that?
Yeah, so I would be the inverse. I would say that Pickett's a little bit more of a, sunk cost, so to speak. He's a guy that they traded DTR and they traded capital for, but especially with news happening in New Orleans now with Derek Carr retiring, Kellen Moore's down there as the head coach and worked extensively with Pickett in Philadelphia. It's a very easy phone call to send Pickett to New Orleans for a day 3 selection. And either way, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, both on 1-year deals. They're both short-term guys. You have to see what you have in Dillon Gabriel and Shadur Sanders at some point. I would say right now, just based on Flacco versus Pickett, I would take Flacco just because he feels like he has a little bit more knowledge of the playbook and having played here. Pickett's coming in. He's got some grasps of some concepts that he ran similarly in Pittsburgh, but it is a whole new playbook for him. Plus, like I mentioned, sending him to New Orleans gets you some draft capital back for 2026. Be a very easy move. I would say Flacco 1, Pickett 2, and then 3A, 3B is Gabriel Sanders. I don't think they're really on one tier over the other at this point between those two rookies.
Yeah, I would just flip the two of them. And again, I think it's very fluid, and I think they're going to try to manufacture more reps in practices to make sure they get to see them enough.
Exactly, 100%. I think we're going to see a lot of reps shared between the 4 of them. I think this is going to go down to week 3 of the preseason. I don't see Cleveland naming a starter until potentially week 1 of the season. They're going to share the reps equally between the 4 or the 3, depending on who they decide to keep or move.